Yo, what's up guys? Welcome back for another Dueling Network video. This time I'm featuring the new Archfiend Archetype. It's a pretty decent deck, nothing utterly broken. They have their own Priestess and Sanyan and both can be abused, so it's definitely an archetype to look out for. I have two duels ready in which I was able to pretty much show the deck, what the deck can do, the power and weaknesses of the deck. First duel, my opponent is playing Piper Chaos. And I get to start, and my opening hand is really nice. Normal summon the tour guide and to search out the Trick Archfiend. Trick Archfiend is basically a Sangan for the deck, since when it's sent to the graveyard, you can search out any Archfiend card from your deck and add it to your hand. So also when it's sent to the graveyard by for example Foolish Burial, or as an exceed material from Zenmains. So activate Foolish, send another trick from my deck to the grave, Trick Archfiend activates, so I'm able to get an Archfiend card from my deck and add it to my hand. So I search Archfiend's Genesis. Genesis is basically the priestess of the deck. Then also activate the General to search out my last Pandemonium. I'm only playing 2 Pandemonium since 3 was a bit too cloggy. Then pass to my opponent, and my opponent immediately passes back, so I do expect the course here. So I'm going to lure it out, activate the Pandemonium, normal summon the Genesis, then attack with the Zenmains first, and there is the gore. So in main phase 2 I activate Genesis effect, banish an Archfiend monster or an Archfiend card from my grave, destroy the gores, and then in the end phase, since Genesis was normal summoned without the tribute, it's destroyed by its own effect. And that triggers Pandemonium, so I'm able to search out the Knight or Cavalry from my deck and add it to my hand. Then, just going to pass, my opponent is going to activate the Heavy Storm. They always have the Heavy Storm. So I have to chain the Call of the Haunted to the Heavy Storm, special summon the Trick Archfiend, and then Trick Archfiend activates. And then I believe I'm going to search out the Commander, since that's basically a combination you always want to have in your hand, like the combination between Cavalry and Commander. You'll see why in a moment. Then, still this move, I'm going to reveal the Commander again, just to make sure. Still this move, he's going to normal summon the Piper, activate its effect, so tribute it and reveal his top card. He reveals a creature swap, which I thought he was going to activate to get my Zenmains, but he's just going to set one back row and pass. I don't know if that was the correct play, since switching the Zenmains to his side of the field definitely would have been a threat. Although, he's not able to put it in defense position, so I understand why he does not activate this swap. Then my turn, I'm going to activate my second Pandemonium, normal summon the Cavalry just in case of Torrential Tribute, so either both Zenmains and Cavalry will activate, and also Pandemonium if he does have Torrential. But he makes the correct play and immediately Book of Moons my Cavalry, so I cannot special summon the commander from my hand, and I was thinking for a long time, should I activate Monster Reborn or not, but it does only have 4 cards in his hand, so I obviously have card advantage and I want to make some pushes, so activate the Reborn for the Genesis, not activating Genesis effect just yet, since we know he's playing Piper, and Piper decks most of the time play Battle Fader and Tragodia, so just in case if he does have Tragodia or Battle Fader, I can activate Genesis effect in main phase 2 to destroy it. But he does not have Battle Fader, or he does not drop his Fader or Tragodia. Then in his turn, he special summons the Chaos Sorcerer and banishes my Genesis, which is really unfortunate. And on top of that, he's going to normal summon his Thunder King, and Thunder King is a huge threat for the deck, since you cannot search with Pandemonium, and also Trick does not activate. So, and since Zenmain still has a Trick attached to his as one of his materials, I need to get rid of the Thunder King. So I normal summon the Chameleon. I hope I pronounced it right. Lure out the Thunder King, and then Suicide Crash into his Chaos Sorcerer. Then Trick is detached, Trick activates, so I'm going to search out the Roar, the Archfiend's Roar, and add it from my deck to my hand. Then in the end phase, destroy his Sorcerer. So I think I'm in a pretty comfortable position with the Roar set and the Zenmains on the field. He activates Duality, and I think he's going to get another Piper to his hand. Yeah, he's going to normal summon the Piper and tribute it to reveal the chaos and add it to his hand. So I'm expecting the Battle Fader with that chaos in hand. Draw into the Judgment. I cannot go for a game, so I'm just going to attack indeed into his open field to see if he has Tragodia or not. No Tragodia. Then activate the Archfiend's Roar, special summoning the Cavalry, since now, first attack with 1900, still no Tragodia, since now in the end phase, because Archfiend Cavalry was special summoned by Roar, the Archfiend monster is destroyed in the end phase, so both Pandemonium and Cavalry will trigger. So with Pandemonium I add the trick from my deck to my hand, and Cavalry special summons an Archfiend monster from my grave, so which will be the trick. Then in his turn he's going to normal summon the Tour Guide. I chain the Maxi, and I think he's going to just flat out scoop now, since he knows that I get 2 new draws off and he basically has no answers for my field. So this was a really quick game on. Game 2 of the same match, my opponent gets to start and he has an amazing opening start. He activates Pot of Duality, get Gorse to his hand, and he's going to normal summon the Thunder King. And normally I don't have a lot of outs to a first turn Thunder King, like Dark Hole, and also the Cavalry as a Suicide Crash are pretty much the first turn counters to a Thunder King. Next to Mirror Force and Torrential are extra outs for Thunder King. But luckily I do open with the Dark Hole, so immediately go to Dark Hole as Thunder King, activate the Foolish, sending the Trick to the graveyard. Trick activates, so I search out the General from my deck. Then activate General, search out the Pandemonium, activate Pandemonium, normal summon Genesis and attack into his open field, since we know he has Gorse, just to lure out the Gorse, but it does not make the mistake and does not drop the Gorse. And then in the end phase, Genesis is destroyed with its own effect. Pandemonium activates to search out the Cavalry from my deck, and then just going to pass. Again, he starts off with the Piper, basically the card you want to open with if you're playing Piper Chaos. And since we know he has Gorse in hand, not going to activate the Reborn, just going to normal summon the Cavalry and attack into his open field, since we know he's going to drop his Gorse on the Cavalry attack. And that lets me activate the Archfiend's Roar, so activate Archfiend's Roar, pay 500 life points, attack over the Gorse, and in main phase 2, try to activate its effect by banishing the Roar from my grave to destroy the token, but it does fail it, so that's not that big of a deal. Just going to set the warning, set the call, and in the end phase, Genesis is destroyed because it was special summoned with Roar. Search out the commander and end my turn. So again, having the combination with Cavalry and Commander is always pretty nice, as you will see in a moment. His turn, he's going to normal summon his Tour Guide, and here I was thinking for a long time if I should activate the Solemn Warning or not. But I was expecting the Black Luster and I didn't want to take the risk. I wanted to wait and see which Exceed he would go for. But eventually he goes for Z mains, and that is a threat, so I have to warning that. No Black Luster. He does have a Black Luster, as you'll see in a moment. He's not going to drop it just yet. My turn. And here I was making some calculations, and if he does not have Battle Fader or Tragodia, this should be game. So activate the Reborn on his Gorse, not activating the Call of the 100 just yet, in case he has Fader to get the 1900 attack of Cavalry. So this is what I do, attack over his token, then attack with Cavalry directly. He lets it go through, and then activate the call for Genesis. Genesis attacks directly, try to go for a game, but it does have a Battle Fader. So in main phase 2, activate the Genesis, destroy his Battle Fader, and end my turn. So I think I'm in a pretty comfortable position with the Genesis on the field. Pandemonium, the Torrential set, just in case he has a big threat. And as you will see now, he does have the Blackluster Soldier, and I was thinking for a long time if I should activate the Torrential Tribute or not, but he's obviously going to banish my Genesis, and then I don't have an immediate answer for the Blackluster, so I do have to Torrential, which is not that big of a problem, since both Pandemonium and Night trigger, so I get to search out the Cavalry or the Knight from my deck thanks to Genesis on the field, and then also Knight activates reborning the trick from my grave. Um, Unfortunately, he does have another Thunder King to attack over the Trick Archfiend, so no search for me. Then my turn. I draw into my last Genesis, I believe. So normal summon the Genesis. He does have still have 2,700 life points left. So normal summon the Genesis activates effect by banishing the Cavalry from my grave. Push for 1/5. No response, so no Fader, no Tragodia. And then in the end phase, Genesis is destroyed since it was normal summoned without a tribute to search out my last Cavalry. Then just going to pass, he normal summons Doomcaliber, and if he does not have any back row or Battle Fader in hand, this should be game. So I draw into a general, and since I do have one Pandemonium in my deck still, activate the general. I reveal the Pandemonium, but I don't think it's necessary. But yeah, just want to play it fair, reveal the Pandemonium, still have it in my deck, normal summon the cavalry and try to push for game, but there is the Battle Fader. I don't want to give him a Tribute Father for the Chaos in hand, so in main phase 2 I special summon Commander, and Commander activates destroying the Archfiend or an Archfiend monster on my side of the field, and that triggers again both Pandemonium and both and Cavalry. So with Pandemonium I take the trick from my deck and add it to my hand, and with Cavalry I special summon the Genesis from my grave. Then in main phase 2 activate Genesis, destroys Battle Fader, to prevent him to be able to do tribute summon that Chaos. He top decks into a Dark Hole, but he knows I have another Cavalry in hand, so this is GG. Anyway, let's get to the deck list. The monster lineup I think is pretty straightforward. 3 Genesis, the priestess of the deck. It can be searched out with Trick Archfiend, and after that you can abuse it with a lot of cards, mainly Archfiend's Roar and Archfiend's Cavalry. Next there is Cavalry, a solid 1900 beater, and when it's destroyed by a card effect you can reborn an Archfiend monster from your graveyard. So your main targets here are Genesis and Trick Archfiend. Then this brings me with the second of the deck, Trick Archfiend. It can be searched out with Tour Guide, and it will activate when it's sent to the grave. So it will work with cards like Zenmaines, Acid Golem and Foolish Burial. Last there is Commander, which at 2 I think is fine, since he's there to give the deck a little more speed, because Archfiends in general are a slow deck. You can special summon it if you control an Archfiend monster inside the field, and when it's special summoned this way you can destroy one Archfiend monster on your side of the field. So your main targets here are Cavalry, to reborn an Archfiend from your grave, or Trick, to get a search out from your deck. Then I'm also tagging one Chameleon, I believe it's called. It's pretty much a debris dragon for either a Trick Archfiend or Cavalry in your graveyard. But it has a big downside, since you cannot normal summon it when you control a level 5 or higher monster, and when you use this effect you cannot special summon that turn unless it's from the extra deck. So mainly you just want to synchro summon for Scrap Dragon or Black Lotus Dragon, for example. So one tagged is definitely enough. Then we have this deck's power card next to Genesis, of course. It's the field spell, it's Pandemonium, so the card is unbelievably ridiculous in here. When an Archfiend monster is destroyed by a card effect, you can search out another Archfiend from your deck that has a lower level than the destroyed monster. So it combines excellent with Commander and Knight, and also Genesis built-in destruction effect in the end phase if it was normal summoned without a tribute. At the moment I'm running 3 Archfiend Roar and 1 Call of the Haunted. You can definitely put them both at 2, since Roar can be searched out by Trick, but an Archfiend monster that was special summoned by Roar is destroyed during the end phase, and we know that both that Roar triggers their effects and also triggers Pandemonium if face up on the field. So that's why I prefer 3 Roar and 1 Call instead of 2-2. A few deck cards that you can run, as you see in the side deck, are Eradicator, Deck Devastation Virus, Archfiend Empress, Falling Down, and Skill Drain. I think that's pretty much it. I'm going to end the video here, so guys, thanks for watching, and as always, feel free to leave a comment or a like if you enjoyed the video. Litum signing out. Peace.